everyone, this is Tanishka. I just thought I would take a bit of time to share with you my insights for this coming new moon in Scorpio. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, look, Scorpio takes us to the absolute depths. So if you think that you've gone deep, chances are you're going to go even deeper before or during this new moon, which occurs on the 8th of November, so this Thursday for those that are in the Southern Hemisphere. If you're on the other side of the date line, that will happen on November 7th. Now, we've just had Venus come out of the underworld in Scorpio during her retrograde transit. She's now in Libra. She went into Libra on November 1st, and tomorrow morning, Southern Hemisphere time, she will reappear as the dawn star. So this is a really good opportunity to get up and meditate upon the dawn star that is Venus. For those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, that of course will be, you know, in 24 hours or, you know, whatever your time zone is for dawn. But yeah, this is the time when we return to love. So we put into, we implement what it is that we've learned in the last 3 weeks during our deep descent, really having to look at our own unloving behaviors, first and foremost towards ourselves, and then, you know, how that's then affected other people. So things will get lighter. She won't go direct, so she won't finish, Venus won't finish her retrograde period until November 16, and then we will experience a month-long sort of shadow of integrating those lessons up until December 3. But yeah, it's a very significant turning point tomorrow to see Venus again. So, you know, we will be able to see love, okay, more in our lives if we've applied those lessons. So Scorpio new moon is, I dare say, going to be a bit of a showdown for a lot of people. If we think about, hi to those of you joining me live, lovely to see some of my dearest amongst you there. Hi. So yeah, in the Trials of Hercules, which is, if you will, a template of the lessons that our soul is put through as we journey around the astrological wheel, Scorpio, when the sun moves through Scorpio, which it is at the moment, that's when we are faced with the 9-headed Hydra, which is this beast of a thing that every time we cut one of its heads off, another one appears. So what does that mean? Well, you know, the other big test was when the sun moved through Leo, which is the duel in the inner cave that we have with our own ego, represented by, you know, the facing off with the lion. But this is when we get an even greater understanding into our own ego and the havoc that it wreaks in our life and in everyone else's life. And the key is that we can't fight these inner demons through logic alone, through thinking our way out of it, through using the rational mind. Scorpio asks us to enter into the storm of chaos, into the deep feminine. It is a feminine sign, and so it asks us to transform through experiencing intense feeling, okay? So you can't think your way to a new perspective, yeah? What in actuality happens is that we are eclipsed by our feelings. Now, a lot of, you know, rhetoric is out there sort of poo-pooing feelings and we should rise above them. And, you know, if we do that, we can have our spiritual self-actualization hijacked by the mind who seeks to be, you know, perfected as a being, which is not possible. You know, there is no perfection in this realm. The fact that there isn't is what is perfect, yeah, that we will learn through every experience. And yes, we will get hurt. That is inevitable. So, you know, in Scorpio, we often do experience hurt. You know, we are hurt by others, but really, if we boil it right back to our own choices, it's about taking ownership, taking responsibility for where have my choices then resulted in me being hurt. So this is the biggest showdown with the ego that happens. It's like, you know, in Star Wars when Luke has the fight to the death with Darth Vader. I'm speaking about the first Star Wars, just to be clear. There's been so many of them. But, you know, in the archetypal hero journey, that's what happens before the hero returns jubilant as the prodigal son or daughter in this case. But there is the ultimate test where they, you know, it's either their ego's going to die or they will destroy everything that they are seeking to create. Okay. That might be a relationship, that might be their life purpose, their work, it may be their family, you know, it may be losing large amounts of money, who knows. But it's probably going to be a combination of all of them because everything is interconnected. So, you know, if there was a tarot card to describe this time, it's the Tower. Now, the Tower card is when, you know, whatever we've built around us, trying to create a sense of security or trying to prove our worth, because the opposite sign of Scorpio is Taurus. So Taurus is often associated with possessions, but our true value is who we are as a being, so our integrity and our inner soul gifts. And we only find those inner soul gifts if we're prepared to really journey to the depths, to the absolute, you know, to the galactic center, which means going where no man has been before, you know. But no, there have been some heroes, thankfully, but they're the great ones that, you know, have a huge legacy of light as a result. But it means exploring the darkness within, exploring the wound, exploring our fears. So it takes us to the absolute depths of who we don't want to see ourselves as, who we don't want to be. That is terrifying. But that is where we find our power. That is where we find our wisdom in facing that. So, you know, Scorpio asks us to transform. It is the agent of change. You know, in terms of archetypes, it's Lilith, who descends from Lilitu, the storm goddesses, or you might know her as Oya, the African Orisha of storms. You know, she will bring in an electrical thunderstorm. I actually had one. I took myself off to Canggu Beach, which is a bit of a surfers, you know, village here in Bali, and had an amazing electrical thunderstorm, which woke me up in you know, the middle of the night with, you know, the electricity of the elements in concert. And you know, electrical storms is very, very scorpionic. It's, you know, when we have union between heaven and earth, when the lightning, which is like the Vajra, the wand of light, the penis, enters into the light body of the earth mother and literally lights up her whole tree of life, which is the Shekinah, the divine feminine principle, the, you know, the world tree, which we are all within. If we go within and reconnect with the mother, with the feminine, who then takes our roots deep and our branches up. And if you are feeling, you know, fearful in this time of uncertainty and chaos and storms that you know, Scorpio brings us to confront in our life, you know that all we can do is submit, okay? Because the storm is greater than us. The storm is all the elements of the earth mother, of the dark feminine, having her way with us. And, you know, the more we fight, the more bruised we will become. This is about allowing that process to change us, to bring us to our knees. And that is what brings us to how the inner hero defeats that nine-headed hydra that looks like there's no way we can defeat it. You know, the challenge, which seems like the David and Goliath battle, like it's way too big for for us, and it's through getting down to our knees and invoking a higher power and saying, okay, that's it. You run my life, okay? Because I'm done trying to control things. I'm done trying to manipulate the outcome, you know, out of fear, out of the mindset of I am separate from the divine, I'm separate from other people. No, we're all interconnected. So whatever is happening in your life, interesting, I go into the Yoni Mudra, into, you know, being initiated by Durga, Kali, Ma, by Lilith. You know, this is a time when we must submit to a higher power, or the damage will be more than we can bear. So, you know, whatever you are trying to control in your life, whatever, you know, you are thinking that you've got any kind of, you know, what's the word, semblance of, you know, order, let it go, let it go, let it go. I'll give you just a small example of, you know, how the universe reminded me that it is safe to let go last night. I took myself to Canggu Beach, as I said, because for me, I'm a water sign, getting my mermaid tail in the water, I need to get to a water source, whether it's a waterfall or hot spring or you know, beach to go boogie boarding on a very regular basis. Or if I don't get that deep water cleansing, I, you know, get too fried energetically, you know, too yang. So it was, the beach was calling, you know, like the Selkie. It was like, oh, I gotta get back there. So off I went. And originally I was meant to go with a couple of friends, and one by one they pulled out. And then I invited another friend, and she wasn't able to go. And it was like, okay, I'm definitely meant to be doing this on my own. So I went, which totally fine, enjoy my own company, been to the beach alone many times, loved it. So all good. But I did get the intuition to connect with a woman who had come to my event here and who is the childhood friend of one of my closest sisters. And so I followed my intuition, and lo and behold, she turns up with 5 beautiful young priestess women, only in their early 20s, but my God, the future is in good hands. You know, I mean, I only stumbled across women's mysteries at the age of 26. These young women were, you know, ranged from 20 to 22, and already they were embarking on year-long priestess trainings and, you know, initiations to serve and clear on their purpose, you know, taking full responsibility for their own health. And, yeah, it was an absolute delight. So I couldn't have orchestrated that, yeah, by me completely going, okay, I'll just, my intuition is saying go to the beach. I know I need the beach, and letting go. I ended up with a birthday celebration that was truly incredible, you know, in terms of all the connections that were made. Yeah, so, and I'll be doing more work with them down in Canggu. So, yeah, stay tuned. So, yeah, it's just a lovely reminder that no matter what is happening in your life, just take your foot off the pedal, take your hands off the steering wheel, and invite the universe in and say, all right, whatever I thought was my life path or my trajectory or what it was that, you know, I was doing, I am completely in your hands. Yeah, just use me as an instrument for divine will. And when we make that, and really make that, and not just words, you know, for me, I opened up the quarters and I, you know, did my own self-pleasuring ritual in order to really raise the energy and create the space to really open myself up to, you know, make that pledge. And we have to make that pledge many times because the ego is slippery. The ego is like, ooh, you know, wants to get back in there, get involved. It's like, yes, but I can really make things happen if you just let me. Nah, we just, you know, our greatest power, there is no greater power than the unknowable mind of the divine, because it has access to the big picture. The 10% rational mind cannot see what it is that is for our highest and best good. It just can't, because it doesn't have the full scope of the vision. Another tarot card that comes to mind is the Hanged Man. So this is a tradition that was enacted by the Celts, by the Native Americans, where they would hang upside down from a rock or a tree to contemplate the big picture. And instead of trying to figure out all the details themselves by just looking up close at their own life and at what, you know, is happening in their own, you know, small reality, it's taking time apart to do the vision quest, to contemplate the ancestors, the great kings that sit there above us in the skies, the stars, the one who have taken this journey and ascended it and become self-actualized, these beings that are just emanating light. I also want to make the point that Jupiter this week is shifting from Scorpio, where it's been for a year, into Sagittarius. Now, Jupiter is the sign of expansion, of good fortune, and it was known as Jove to the Romans. People used to say, by Jove. In other words, by the grace of Jupiter, you know, great things will happen. So for those who have natal Jupiter in Scorpio, as I do, you'll be coming to the end of your 1-year Jupiter transit, which happens every 12 years. For those of you with your natal Jupiter in Sag, look out, you're in for a year of huge expansion. So if you don't know where your natal Jupiter is, you can go to astro.com, which is a free website, not affiliated with me, and just enter in your time, date, and location of birth, location and time of birth, and you'll get your, you know, where your planets were and what sign. So Jupiter moving from Scorpio on the 8th or the 7th, depending on which sign of the, well, basically the new moon, is really going to catapult us into expanding through travel. So you may get the travel bug like never before, regardless of where your natal Jupiter is, or expand into new realms, new demographics, new territories with your sphere of influence. So if we're not doing that, if we feel like we're not really growing and taking risks to do that, which help us to feel more optimistic about our future, we can tend to literally expand by, you know, overeating or overindulging in alcohol, you know, as a way of trying to savor more and more experiences, but of the ego rather than of the soul. So just a bit of a caution there. We do have Mercury going retrograde in a couple of weeks. Let me just check the exact date. We'll start to feel it now because we're in that 2-week shadow that happens 2 weeks before and after a 3-week Mercury retrograde period. Let me just scoot down. I'm just scrolling through my Astro Oracle. Dun, 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 dun. On November 18, okay, that's in the Southern Hemisphere. So those in the North, that'll be November 17. So, you know, look, there's a lot of associated with Mercury going retrograde. Yeah, it's a time when you've got to double check every travel schedule and, you know, arrangement to be picked up, dropped off at certain times, because miscommunications can happen easily. But when Mercury goes retrograde, it is a wonderful window for direct communication between the higher mind and the lower mind. So the intuition and the rational or logical part of us. So this is a really important time to be journaling. I mean, it always is, but yeah, if you're not, that's a way to really suck the nectar out of a Mercury retrograde period. This new moon, we have Venus and Mars forming a trine. Now, a trine is, as it suggests, it's a triangle, which is like the Holy Trinity. It's a beautiful, supportive, harmonious angle or aspect for these inner planets that govern feminine, masculine, on either side of our mothership, of our Earth star planet. So this new moon is an opportunity to heal if there's been discord between the sexes, maybe in relationship, or between the feminine, masculine parts of yourself, but through the humility of the ego. So, you know, it will take an apology or an acknowledgement of the shadow in order to, you know, move forwards by creating soul-to-soul transparency and trust. Okay, so let me just check. Is there anything else I wanted to say? Blah, 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 blah. We have the nodes, this new moon, shifting from the axes of Leo and Aquarius into Cancer and Capricorn. Cancer is the cosmic mother and Capricorn is the cosmic father. So to have the nodes which govern us, our collective journey, moving into the signs of mother, father, this is an opportunity for us to move into the heart, because the archetypes of mother, father sit in the heart. So when we move into the heart, we're able to really center ourselves and find the balance point between whether it's light and dark, or, you know, spirit and matter. So something you might like to incorporate into your daily practice, which I find, you know, just really, really good anyway, is to visualize the mandala, which is that, I don't know if you can see my goggles. If you can, sorry, just like a kid in front of a camera. Those intercepting circles, when they cross over, they form that vesica Pisces, that yoni shape, which is the doorway of opening the gateway to a new reality, to birthing a new perspective, and through the death of the old. So by having that mandala and visualizing it or intending it to be anchored in every cell in your physical body, but also in every particle of your morphic field, your energetic template. But wait, there's more. And vertically the mandala, which is heaven and earth. Now together, when we put all 4 rings together, we open up the rose in the heart. Okay, you will see people speaking, you know, like the Rosicrucian cross or the rose in the cross. You know, this was very much the energy of, you know, the Magdalene and the Sacred King in union within. Okay, so that then that could be experienced externally. But often it's depicted with the old patriarchal cross. Hang on, I'm not doing a very good job there. Which is when we see the cross so that it's tilted with the sky, the masculine, the divine masculine, oppressing the feminine, rather than the equal cross, which is known as the Aquarian cross or Wotan's cross, which is the ancient cross, also shown in the medicine wheel, where we have the equality of heaven and earth, masculine, feminine. So yeah, look, if you are willing to contribute your energetic self as a conduit to helping to create heaven on earth, to be anchoring that sacred symbol, which is the mandala, to balance feminine, masculine within and heaven and earth within, by seeing it as the, you know, the 4 circles opening the rose in the heart, and maybe just, you know, breathing in and out through the heart and setting your intention for the day. A beautiful thing to do, especially while, you know, we are coming out of the Venus descent. This is a very powerful time to set intention for our style of relating, for the quality of our relationships, for our ability to equally give and receive love, which is done through the heart. Okay, when we're giving and receiving through other chakras, was a B, then often there are other agendas going on. But when it's from the heart, it is a pure transmission of love. So that is, you know, what we, if we set that clear intention, we have more chance then of really embodying that, because energy always follows intent. So I hope that's food for thought for you on the week of the new moon in Scorpio. A lot of people fear Scorpio, but like the saying, where there's fear, there's power. It's through facing our fears that we take back our power. So yeah, those of you who are new Buddha, I invite you to come to part 2 and 3 of my series Initiation. We looked at reclaiming our power, our sacred power, our tapawa, by understanding the deep sacred knowledge about the blood, which has been deliberately distorted and kept from us. And this week we explore sex, how sex has been distorted in the group mind, and the truth that sex holds for us as a collective consciousness if we understand its sacred power and we embrace the deep truth of it by acknowledging the shadow side of sexuality, which is absolutely rampant in our culture. And then that is November the 9th here in Ubud, Bali at Paradiso. And I am filming this so that I can send it out as festival submissions. So wherever you are in the world, if you would like me to come and offer this 3-part series, which can be done as a 1-day initiation journey or over 3 nights, the 3rd phase is part is death. So understanding how death has been distorted so that we fear death rather than embrace it. And I'm not just talking about physical death. Then by all means, please get in touch with me. Email me via my website, which is themoonwoman.com. I will go wherever the universe sends me. So, yeah, I look forward to delivering that. I'm not doing it as a live stream because, what was given to me is that going into these initiations, we're going into deep ceremonial space to receive these transmissions in person. So it's not appropriate to just, be able to lay back and watch it via a device remotely. That's okay for some teachings, but when we really get into the deep, deep taboo, then we need to show up. We need to, be there in person. So, yeah, blessings on your new moon, wherever you are in the world. Do know that this is a very potent time to seed intention, specifically for right relationship with power on our planet, rather than fearing the leaders misusing their power, be part of the solution by blessing the restoration of shared power on our planet. And for those of you that are holding red tents, moon lodges, I would strongly invite you to invite the women. It only takes 2 minutes to really harness that group energy for global social change by seeding that intention into the matrix that we are weaving from our hearts and from the power of our wombs, which is connected to the cosmic womb of all creation. So this is the time of conception. New moon is the time to seed that intent. Do go easy on yourself as we approach the new moon. This is a time of the energies really going down, taking us down to ground. A lot of women will be premenstrual. And of course, the goddess of premenstruation herself is Lilith, Kali Ma. So this may be a steep one. I know many had a steep one with the Venus descent. So yeah, if you are premenstrual, really give yourself the space and the time to really feel intensely what is coming up for you, knowing that you are purifying this for yourself and for the collective, and honor yourself with dignity rather than shaming your feelings, knowing that they will take you through a rebirth. That also goes for the guys, regardless of, you not having the feminine hormonal cycle to initiate you. The planets, the moon affects all of us because we're all 65–70% water, and given the effect the moon has on the tides, it has a huge effect on our energy levels, our moods and emotions, our psyche, our mental states, our libido, our relationship patterns, our creativity. So if you're feeling don't create a story and flagellate and whip yourself. This is a shamanic window. Embrace the opportunity for rebirth through intense feeling. So blessings, and if you feel intuitively to share this to help more people understand the influences and to navigate them with grace, then you have my blessings. All right, ciao for now.